Hello, my name's Helen. This is my very first YouTube video, so I hope you're going to enjoy it. Today I'm going to be making a card with Altenew Hennah Elements Stamp set. I'm going to be watercolouring the flowers, then cutting around the edge and raising it up on fun foam to make a panel on the front of my card. I'm going to be starting off with a panel that's 6 by 7.5 inches. I will be cutting that down, and it's an artist grade watercolour paper. Both sides are textured, but one's just slightly smoother than the other, and that's the side that I'll be stamping on. I'll start off by getting all the stamps out that I'm going to use and popping them on acrylic blocks ready. I've also got some masks ready. I'll prep my card surface with my embossing buddy just to make sure that I don't get any stray powder, and I'm ready to start stamping with Versamark watermark ink. After I've stamped my first flower, I'm going to emboss it with Ranger Gold embossing powder and then melt it with my heat tool. I will then pop a mask on top of the flower, which I've made out of some sticky paper. I'll then stamp one of the other flowers either side of it. Again, I'll emboss it with the gold powder and then melt it with my heat gun. I'll continue to stamp and mask until I've filled up my flower arrangement on a diagonal across the page. I filled in the very bottom corner with some filler stamps out of the set. I then mounted this panel onto a board with painter's tape to keep it flat while I watercolour. I'll start doing the watercolour by putting a wash of clear water over the petals first, then I'll put some picked raspberry on the palette that I've made with a laminated card. I will then put a thin wash of the picked raspberry onto my flower, letting the water spread the ink. I'll continue to do this with all the other flowers, dropping water in first, then putting the ink. Once the flowers have dried a little, I'll go back and put a slightly more concentrated wash of the ink just around where the shadows of the petals would be. The colours I'm using are Dusty Concord, Squeeze Lemonade, Salty Ocean, Cracked Pistachio, Spice Marmalade, and for the leaves I'm using Mowed Lawn. For the background I'm going to use Tumbled Glass. I'll leave you listening to a little bit of music and I'll come back when I've finished the painting. Once I'm happy with my painting, I've left it on the board to dry. Once it's dry, I've taken it off the board, fussy cut round the top edge and trimmed where the tape was. I then played around with some colours for the background of the card. Wasn't sure what colour I was going to go with, but I ended up deciding on the pale pink. I then trimmed a piece of the pink card to match my card base, which is 5 by 7 inch. I then cut out a piece of pink fun foam and mounted that onto my panel with some tape runner. Once that was stuck onto the front panel of my card, I did the sentiment with an old wooden stamp that I've had for years. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a name on it anywhere, but it's got a lovely script writing. It says best wishes for a wonderful birthday. I embossed it with Ranger Gold embossing powder and heat set it with my heat tool. To finish off my card, I stuck down some pink iridescent sequins and some pretty pink posh 4mm droplets, just with some glue that I've decanted into a smaller bottle. Once I completed that, I mounted my panel onto my card base, and that's the card finish. Thanks very much for joining me today for my first video. Hopefully you'll subscribe and see more. Thank you. Bye.